back on the guitar neck, and this is going to be, I think, a different capo in the next couple of weeks. We've got a surprise coming, and in the color of gold, so that will be a fun little thing to talk about. So what I'm doing is I'm clasping this one. This one has just a little lever, a little clasp on it, and that will clasp over the piton. If you're into French technique, there's a little piton here that this comes over the top of. Good morning, Mark. Morning, bro. And so that thing moves around. That helps keep this secure. And you are number one here today. And you know, our brother Kevin is indisposed today, and it's likely he won't be with us today, and he may not be with us tomorrow, but you're here, and so this is good news. This is very good news, and we're thinking about Kevin today. So I have also so you see the page capo there, you see the tuning fork, an A440 tuning fork, and the metronome, and the old Martin D X2E, which is a great, you know, workhorse guitar. It's been my workhorse for about a year and a half now, and as you know, Mark, I'm talking to you right now, but I'm thinking maybe others might watch the video later on, you know. So I appreciate you putting up with the same story here. I would agree. It is good that I am here. That's right. So what have you been working on, Mark? I was thinking about releasing a Doors song later today. I think we've got that on the calendar. Come on, come on, come on now. Touch me, babe. Can't you see? That sounds pretty good. So we're just going to tune up, and we're going to just get right down to it. So that's kind of a little to have these little threads of songs coming and going. Sounds like a Rush tune to me. You see my system, Mark. I like to, for those of you, if you are here watching, I like to use a system of checks and balances as I tune the guitar, because I want to be sure the intonation is correct and accurate and hasn't strayed away from the truth of the tuning of the instrument. Check out this song, Mark. I've been becoming adept at my own musical endeavors, and let me see if I can get you on another viewport here, because I don't see you here. Maybe it's just the two of us here today, Mark. That'd be kind of a special session, wouldn't it? No other attendees. That might change this whole session. So I've been becoming adept at my own musical endeavors and combining this focused practice session with my playing and seeing much subtle progress. Oh, what kinds of progress are you talking about? And really just loving all my guitars, although I am enamored with the new Jag. Yeah, the Jaguar is that's a beautiful instrument, man. And there's a song that maybe I've played here before. It's on that record called The Little Willies. It's Nora Jones, sort of New York. It's her bar band. And I had some friends that came up from the band and were doing some clinics for me in a previous life with me for my music school students. And Mr. Julian was he's a member of the band. Great songwriter, great singer, great musician, guitar player. Decent person, decent human being. And but I remember this song from the record is it's called No Place to Fall, and it's that Little Willie's record, and it's I think it's one of my all-time favorite sort of singer-songwriter songs. So it starts with this really cool, and we're not going to continue along this. We are going to do the morning ritual, but I just wanted to introduce what we can do with the D chord, and we may come back to this later on. I have another plan for us today, but we may come back to this. We have the D shape on fret number 7, of course, becomes a G chord with the D in the bass, and then if we move that, what is that, finger 1, 2, 3? If we move that third finger, and kind of remove it and let that sort of 7th fret, that 7, 7, 7 ring out, it becomes the G major chord triad with the D in the bass to G major 7 triad with the D in the bass. And then Wayne, I see you there. And then we have the G7 with D in the bass, and then the G7 sus. And then we go to the C chord with the G on the top. So the verse and the lyric sounds really great. If I had no place to fall, but I needed to, could I count on you? And then the C sus 4, and then to lay me down. I'll never tell you no lies. I don't believe it's wise. It's quite a bit faster on the album, but what a great melody and what a great sort of nice usage of that descending pattern for melody as we start doing the other things. So long story short, let's just go ahead and get involved in the warm-up, if you don't mind. Let's take a look, and I'll be picking up my flat pick. Okay, I'm also focused on alternate flat pick fingerstyle variations and fingerstyle, and how that I've got the Jag. Now that I get the Jag, I'll be sure to be picking up my flat pick rhythm work. Very cool, yeah. All right, that's good to know. That's good to think about as we move on through the morning. Top of the morning to you, Jason. Sharpen up 7 harmonics, got my head spinning. Oh, minor 7 harmonics. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's think about that. That's another place to kind of be coming back to. Uh, and we'll talk a little bit about some things in the last 15 minutes or so as we start closing down, exiting our warm-up state of mind. Progress like consistency and finger independence and creative listening and hearing of pathways for my arpeggio type work, even with the most simple cowboy chord spirituals. Oh, yeah. 3 chords and the truth, bro. 3 chords and the truth. Have you read that book? Let's see. Whoops, I just skipped to the next live stream. Good morning, Wayne. Thanks, Mark, for getting him involved. Yeah, I didn't know what those were, Jason, but I use them and it inspires much creativity. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's get started and see what we've got. It might be just 2 or 3 of us here this morning, and wouldn't that be special? You know, that's okay. So the idea is, you know what we're about to do. We're about to use fingers. We're going through the 2 finger groupings, and then we're going through the 3 finger groupings, and then we're doing all of those 3 finger groupings, and then finally the last 2 finger groupings. Finger 4, 4 finger groupings with a stretch, and then with a stretch on the other end. We're going to get through that by the top of the hour, so we've got a little bit of work to do, and then we'll go ahead and see what we do with pentatonicism there, or we'll go ahead and see what we do with harmonic minor systems. We'll just take a look, but I wanted to get to something specific this morning as we start to segue. We move from the well-trodden path of the morning ritual for guitar growth, which is our morning warm-up, to a more sort of like discovery-based learning, sort of like a practice, the practical application. So what we're doing now is just a wee bit of finger programming, and it's so great to have Wayne, Mr. McFarlane here from across the pond and from the great country of Ireland. I think Wayne, you're from Ireland, correct? Fingers 2 and 3, and these fingers are feeling a lot better than they did to me when we started this year. These 2 fingers are just starting to feel really great, and that stretch is becoming more and more approachable, and then I find that I have to hold my thumb a certain way on the back of the guitar neck in order to make this work. So you can see that my thumb is sort of on point, sort of toward the lower back side of the guitar neck, and that's sort of like how I'm keeping my thumb as I sort of progress through this year. The thumb is starting to fall in shape, and of course this is all stuff that's been I think done by me at some point before, so none of this is really new, but it's all stuff that I do every single day. At least I do it here every weekday morning here on the internet, on the interwebs, 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And it's just about spreading good news and joyfulness, and that's just simply what it is. It's about playing the guitar and nothing else. It's not really about anything else. It's about how can I grow to be a better person than I was, a better man than I was the day before, a better man than I was yesterday. How can I service my faith through what I'm doing on the guitar? So how does that work? And if you're, basically wanting to improve yourself through guitar, it can be done. I've seen it, and I witnessed it, and can I get an amen, brother? But it is like you see some practitioners, whether they are practicing the guitar, the piano, or the mandolin, or the drum kit, or the timpani drum. Some musicians get so far out there, they get so accomplished in their mission that they may as well be like astronauts or space travelers, astral travelers. Do you know what I mean? There's so much accomplishment there, and especially in Carlos, and you've heard me talk about Mr. Santana's bands, right? With the drummer, and we've talked about this a little bit before, but doing the simple thing and repeating the simple thing gives us access to the more complicated thing. Mr. Shreve talks about that in some interviews, and just worth doing, you know. And sometimes we don't always want to be here at practice. We don't always want to take the time to go out for a 3-mile jog, or we don't always want to. We might feel distracted. We might feel like life's grabbing us by the bullhorns. Fingers 1 and 3 on 9 and 12. But we also, hey Robbie, I see you're here. Thank you for coming in today. Good to see you. But when we get here, when we show up, when we arrive, I try to say good morning to my guitar every morning, and that's kind of how I start the live stream. Is I say every morning into my mobile phone, I say, because I don't type anything in, I just kind of do the voice to text, and I say good morning guitar, and it feels just those simple things, those simple words feel great to say, you know. It's my principal instrument. It always has been my primary instrument. And the voice, I guess, is probably the prime instrument. But I think the principal instrument is the point of study and specialization has been the guitar for me, and likely for you, you know. So one end and a few other stringed instruments. You can see, I have an upright bass guitar just behind me. I'm also sort of not notable, but I'm a functional upright bass player. So there's that you'll hear on some recordings once in a while. You'll hear, like on my song Unity on the Rebirth album from 2013. That was an upright bass, and that the chord arrangement and the guitar work on that is there's a little break period, a part of the tune where the guitar does some really great harmonic, sort of like, it's pre-Tim Henson, you know what I mean? It's like it's that kind of work before actually that harmonic Instagram, you know, the harmonic guitar. I did it anyway. I don't know how I got there. Let's carry on. Good morning, Hugo. Good morning. Yeah, I didn't know those were Jason, but Houston inspires me. So good morning. How are you today, Hugo? John Carey. Good morning, John. Mr. Carey, how are you today? Yeah, those cucumbers were awesome. We cracked a little pepper on those, and a little Celtic. Oh, if Wayne's on still, I'm not sure, Wayne, if you're still here with us, but we cracked a little Celtic sea salt on those yesterday. And some cracked pepper. We got some garden fresh cukes from Mr. Carey yesterday, and just wonderful, you know. All right, two, 3, and 4. Here we go. And we're off. And like a herd of turtles. Hugo, good morning again. It's in, so the my guitar is in standard tuning, but you know, Are you talking about like open D tuning or like drop D? Because I'm looking for something to talk about that's a little different. And I have a couple of ideas, but if you guys have something that you wanted to talk about for the last 15 minutes of this session, I'm totally open to, you know, we can take today, and we can take today sort of like off as a little vacation process, and we can talk about, okay, drop D. If you want, just let me know, and I'm happy to work with you guys if you can reach a consensus about. Drop D is such a powerful chord, and there's so much a powerful tuning. And we could talk about that a little bit more, because yesterday we started with, we ended with Sailing to Philadelphia by, it was a beautiful duet by Mark Knopfler and James Taylor. And Sailing to Philadelphia is just a remarkable duet, and perfectly staffed by a Brit and an American, and two voices that were very distinctly different and distinctly unique, you know. And anyway, 1 and 2 and 3, and we're going 10, 11, and 12. And then we're just going all the way down. We're going to descend all the way down to fret number 1. That's right. We're just going down, down, down. And careful to, you know, the picking hand here is suturing its way. So you can see I'm not using any wrist movement here. I'm taking this time to go down, up, down. I'm sort of swimming through the strings. This is a way that I'm really working to articulate each individual note very cleanly and evenly, and so each tone should be balanced with each other tone. If you're here, if you're watching on your mobile viewport, you can double tap the screen, which would help us out a lot. Smash that like button, and that's a big help. Certainly appreciate all of that. But then we do also start working with the forearm, maneuvering the whole forearm instead of just the wrist, or the index and thumb. We also sort of will focus on shaping using the wrist as well. So each one of these picking approaches has a different form and function. Hey, sup? Dog, what's up? The chords you played sounded so great. Okay. Yeah, let's come back to that. There are some ways to sort of enhance and expand on all of the triadic chords that we know. One of my favorite things to do is play the way like the mid-90s David Matthews. I got so much grief for saying David Matthews the other day in a short. I mean, Dave Matthews, whatever you want to call him, Mr. Matthews. His 1990s version used a lot of these kinds of chords where he's not just playing bar chords, you know, he's playing sort of so he's using chords that don't, you know, they're not Bob Dylan's chords, you know, they're not your daddy's chords. So we'll talk about a little bit more about how to take those chords and sort of maybe extend those a little bit more, and then make them some other things that will help us to sort of expand our experience. We could also talk about that in drop D tuning, which would be a great opportunity to illustrate and highlight the durability of the guitar's duration, like its decay over time. So we can really start to get a little bit more out of the guitar as we start to explore open tunings, or certainly, you know, include more open strings in our approach. We get these overtonal structures and these sympathetic ringing tones that are just a wonderful part of any well-crafted guitar, electric, acoustic, or anything in between. So a well-crafted instrument should give us those sympathetic what do you call it? Overtones. But let's go ahead and just kind of finish up with fingers 1 and 2 and 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2 E and a T E and a 4 E and a. Yeah, and it's not that difficult, but it is a little confusing because instead of using like binary forms now, we have these 3 fingers against, you know, a duple meter. So we have this tertiary meter or triple meter against this, you know, it's not really tertiary meter against this. We're playing 3 notes, you know, a 3-finger grouping. So it's, Tom Quayle yesterday was talking about this. Mr. Quayle released this, he likes to talk about legato style playing and how we've developed strengths. We develop strengths in being able to use certain finger groups, but we count instead of counting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. We count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, T, 4, 1, 2, T, 4, 1, 2. And we put the accents, we place the accents squarely on the downbeat. So we count 4s while we're playing groups of 3s. And that's a healthy thing. It's a healthy helping of like, I'm going to get better on the guitar. You know, spoonful of medicine or sugar makes the medicine go down or whatever in the most delightful way. So we've got that. For me, the medicine is just kind of the metronome, the metronomic approach to the guitar. And the metronomic approach to living in general does help with you know, interaction, our social intercourse with your social discourse or intercourse with other musicians musically can be strengthened if we are just simply confident in our own ability to keep time and maintain time. It's just a simple thing. And that simple thing, if I walk into a band and if I walk into, there's a drummer and a bass player and I start feeling terrified of, oh no, I'm not sure if I can count correctly because these guys are rhythm players and these guys and gals, these musicians are really laying down the fort, you know, holding the fort down. Am I going to be able to count and keep up with them? And that little bit of self-doubt will lead to the band, you know, ultimately, you know, number one, the whole group will either need to support itself and spend time on developing time as a group, or they won't be willing to do that and the band will not survive, right? So counting is super important, but metronomic life is sort of at the center of all of it, I think. You know, arguably. I mean, there's room for debate, obviously, but what's going on, Robbie? And Zach's in the house, picking and grinning is what my granddad used to call it. I love that. Daniel, good morning. Saram, good morning. And I see the characters, but I don't know how to say the name, but hello from Bangladesh. That's amazing. That is amazing. We wrote a song a while ago with Bangladesh in it, and I wish I could speak the native language. I wish I knew all of these languages. And Mark is right. Mark's smash that like button. All right, so we're going to 4 fingers. We're at the top of the hour. We are finding our way into 4 fingers. Now, we've graduated from 2 fingers and all of the groupings and permutations of 2 and 3 and 4. Now we're in 4 approach. Now we finally made it to be four-fingered guitar players again. Thank the Lord. Thank God. You know, if you're just tuning in, if somehow you're just finding us, we certainly appreciate the like, share, subscribe, but not really needed. All you need to know is what I'm doing. I just want to tell you that you found me, we found each other, and if you're a guitar practitioner, this is a great place for you. I'm here every weekday morning, literally going through my morning ritual for guitar growth. It's my own personal warm-up program, which I use to say hello to the day, say hello to my guitar in the beginning of the day. And it's a little bit ritualistic, so there are some things there are some commonalities, there are some common themes and common exercises every weekday morning at 7:30. Strum practice lesson, please. All right, strum practicing it is. I have about 15 more minutes, and then I usually, so I finish at 8:30, and then I work on the last 15 minutes. So I start at 7:30. Finish at 8:30. At 8:15, I try to reserve some time to work on things and skills and build some skills that we all really could use. Or sometimes they're new skills, sometimes they're review, and we go a little bit deeper into those skills than we normally would have otherwise. So at 8:15, we're going to start talking about how to extend very simple chords using drop D tuning with very cool strum patterns. So, and this is all approachable. It's super approachable, and I would say stick around because I think you're gonna love it. So fingers 1, 2, 3, and stretch the fourth finger. And you can see I'm not really using any of my forearm. I'm keeping my wrist static, and I'm using my thumb. You can see I'm using my thumb to roll the pick over the index finger. So this is literally about tone construction and tone curation. It's not about anything other than tonal control and just observing the truth of what your guitar has to offer. Now, if it's a cheap Harmony Stella, you paid $50 for it, and if that's what you have to work with, then the guitar has some great benefits for you waiting. If you spent $20,000 on a great piece of work of art, you know, like a bourgeois guitar, you know, that guitar has something in store for you as well. But what we're doing is we're getting out of our instrument right now, the instrument that we have in our hands. We're trying to mitigate the need to feel like we need a better thing to make ourselves sound better, because that's a myth. That's a myth. You know, some of the Americas and the world's greatest recordings were made in an archaic state, you know, with cheap radial microphones or cheap radial guitars or radial instruments, and some of those recordings are the most historically significant ever made. So, you know, I try to keep things in perspective, that I don't need the new thing all the time to make me satiated, you know, to make me happy or comfortable or joyful. What I have right now is enough. And then I'll start incorporating my wrist movement. It's a band. It's 8 a.m. Oh yeah, it's 8 a.m. over here where I'm at, yeah. Wild boar, God first, God bless, thank you. Hey, amen, brother. We're on the same page. Yeah, this is a story of devotion, right? So I'm here every weekday morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time for the entire year of 2025. And there's a reason why I'm doing this. There's a reason for it. There's a reason maybe we don't understand the full reason just yet. What I'd like to do is take a look at what 260 hours of practice or warm-up time looks like. Because if you've been here, you know that I view warm-up and practice sessions are two very different things to me. but you can see I'm moving the forearm now, and that forearm will start to need some attention too, and so I'm moving my fingertips less, I'm moving my wrist less, and you can hear the different tone that's being made just by using different tissues, right? And different parts of the limb to create the sound, the tone. Anyway, this is getting pretty one note sounding. So let's go ahead and take a quick break. What we're doing now is we're just gonna fix the hair, you know, get the hair fixed, and then just come back. We're just going to take a quick break with a stretch, and I'm using 4 bars, which is 1, 2, T, 4, 2, measure 2, T, 4, and then 3, 2. Brother, could you please show me the hammer on and pull off practice? Okay, we'll do that with the chords at 8:15. Please stick around. You're going to love it. Keep mentioning that stuff because we'll integrate all of it. And if I'm getting along and you want to see something integrated in real time, like a practical application of the technique and analysis of it, we can do that. 15 minutes, the last 15 minutes is really the way to do this, right? But I ask that, and I really do appreciate it, that you have a deep, healthy respect for this is actually my own personal warm-up time, and I really I'm so appreciative that you're here with me at all, and that you're here and playing your own warm-up with me while we're doing this remotely together. So I have a deep appreciation for what is going on here. And I look forward to celebrating the movement from the warm-up state of mind into the practicing state of mind at 8:15. And that practicing state of mind, we start to move into the unknown, right? We start to absorb the new things. We start to add new things that we can warm up with tomorrow or the next day. And that's how this is all growing over time. At least it is here, right? Yeah. Have you ever seen the rain? Oh, yeah, that's good call. Yeah, good call. Robbie just pulled up to the office, got to run. Say hi to the gang at the office for us. And Robbie, you have a super day, man. Drop D stuff tonight. Have a blessed day. God bless you, Robbie, and the work you do, and we'll see you soon. Do you give personal course? I do have, I'm getting ready to announce that I'm doing I appreciate you asking that, Hugo. I am doing a guitar boot camp. It's a 3-week program, but we haven't officially announced it yet, but that's coming up. So if it's something you're interested in, we only have 10 spots available. And we've got to make sure that everyone involved is, we're all making the same progress, and then that we're all working at our own speed. But the guitar boot camp is going to have very specific it has very specific parameters, and if it's something you're interested in, you just keep an eye out here, and then you'll hear about it if you're interested. But it's one of those things where we gotta probably jump on it because it will sell out. It will be filled. I usually when I do this kind of thing, I usually cap out at 12, and it's always sold out. But I'm going to limit it to 10 at this point, just to try to keep it manageable, and so we can have more direct contact. So thanks for asking. Yeah. All right. So now we've just got this minor. We've got to run through these pentatonics because we ran through pentatonics yesterday. So let's go ahead and use the C major triad arpeggios. And what we do here is we start with the 4th degree. Now, if you don't know these, if you're not yet familiar with these shapes, bear with me. You could watch this and absorb it. You can also watch the video. Let me see if I can share the video with you here. So you could go get, so what I'm saying is there's a video that I've already made for you, and that, in that video you can download the entire PDF binder for free. So I am going to share the link with you here now. So let me just bear with me just for one moment. And here's the video, and hopefully that helps you. And all right, hopefully that helps you. All right. So let's see. Also, the guitar I'm using today is the Martin DX2E. So I'll put that up here in case you want to check it out, and we'll pin that to the top. So yeah. Anyway, these arpeggios you can get for free. And there's quite a bit more in the PDF binder, so it's definitely worth going to grab it. There are a few other things while you find yourself there that are free that I would recommend to just grab what you can while you're there. But I'm working through this minor. They're major shapes, minor shapes, and it's an online boot camp. It is, yeah. But it's an interactive program where we have direct contact with each other. So let's take a look. We're starting in C major, so let's go ahead and tonicize our ears. So we're starting with 4, the F major triad, the 5 major triad, then we move the 6 minor triad, the 7 diminished triad, and then back to the 1 major triad, and then the 2 minor, and the 3 minor, the 2 minor, and then the 1 major, and then the 7 diminished, the 6 minor, the 5 major, these just give us an exercise in how to get through the major scale and how to deal with the tonality of a major scale harmony, and how to, make it so that we sound coherent. A lot of times what I'll do is just kind of, just run up and down the scale, and that sort of, it can get a little bit boring. It can get just a little bit boring, especially to us. If it's boring to us, it's likely boring to the listener. So this is just a way to keep us sort of, how would we take this? There we go. We're just trying to just feel our way through the major scale system, and this is sort of just one of those ways to expand that approach. Now, I did talk about usually we'll do the, let's go ahead and do the 1, 2, 3, 4 exercises, this diagonal pattern. We haven't done this for a few days, so right after this, we'll get right into the drop D tuning, and we'll get into sort of expanding, you know, chords that we already know, and experiencing the full dynamic range of our instruments, the rate of decay which our instruments. We'll talk about the rate of decay and why that's important to understand as a guitar practitioner. And then we'll talk a little bit about, of course, drop D, and then some strum patterns, some basic strum patterns, and just a couple of ways to sprinkle a little special sauce on the basic strum patterns that we already know and love so well. And these are just, we're not really adding anything different or anything new. We're just going to adjust the way we approach the strum, right? And, you know, I might relate it to a song, or I might not relate it to a song, but anyway, the techniques are there, and they're there for us to gather up. Are you on that point that you know where the notes are on the neck? I lose connection. Have a nice day. All right. Hugo, thanks for being here. I appreciate you being here. Sorry to see you go, but we'll see you again at some point soon. All right, so we're just dropping the D string. And I'm playing the low D, the A, and the low E strings. And if it sounds like a D5 chord, I'm in business, you know. I could do, so in standard tuning, it's fret 5 is the same thing as the open A string, right? Fret 5 on the low E string, E, F, G, A, is the same as the open A string. But because we tuned this guitar down the equivalent of 2 frets, now I need to move up 2 frets higher. So fret 7 is now it's now where I'm going to use as a reference point to tune the guitar. And then right, so drop D does all this really great stuff for us. It's a great tuning. So now what we're going to do is take a look at take a look at the D to the G and the B strings, and we're starting with the 7th fret, and then let's just dial in the tuning real quick. So we have 7, 7, and 7 on the D, the G, and the B strings. Yeah. And then we have the open A string and the low dropped D string. Right, so we have the G chord, I'm basically playing like running on empty, the Jackson Browne shape, you know. First finger, the lazy A shape, the lazy A chord shape, but on fret 7. 7, 7, 7. Then I'm adding finger 3 on fret number 9 on the D string. 7 on the G remains the same. And then fret number 8 is underneath finger number 2 on the B string, I guess. So it's 9, 7, 8. But if I finger this correctly, you can hear if I arpeggiate this. Oh, I've got the tip of the 3rd finger is choking out the A string. So I've just got to adjust, you know, I've just got to get that third finger out of the way of the open string that I really need it to be ringing. So that's actually the 1 and the 4 chord. So in relation to the strumming patterns, simple strum patterns, and again we're still at 60 beats per minute, and simple strum pattern is playing that D chord and then letting it ring for one whole beat, one whole note, one whole measure. 1, 2, a T and a O E and a 1, 2 E and a T E and a 4 E and a 1, 2 E and a T E and a 4 E and a 1. We could also just do half notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4 E and 1, 2, 3 and a 4 E. As we pick up rhythmic, as we sort of like increase the subdivisions, we also increase tension in our music. So the more we play, the more inherent tension there is in the music. Just it's rhythmic fact, you know what I mean? So we could do quarter notes, which increases the tension even more. 1, 2, 3, 4, just keeps the ball rolling. 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a 1, 2, and you can see my fretting or my picking hand, my strumming hand bouncing. So it's all my picking hands most of the time engaged in the 16th note grid bounce. So bangi, dega, dangi, and a T-E, and a 4-E, and a bangi, and a 2-E, and a T, 4-E. And then what we could do when we change from chord to chord is highlight the first chord with a quarter note, and then 2-E, and a 3-E, and a 4-E, and let that high E string ring on fret 10. Don't disturb it again. Just sweeping through the downstroke. Make that downstroke last a long time. Down tuning is remember this shape can also be the sus4. It can be a sus2. So when we're down here playing a D chord, we can make that a sus4 as well. So when we get used to hearing that open drop D string just droning away, we can start building so that when we depart from that, So that's kind of a cool thing to do with the drop D tuning. So one of the other things that I like to do with drop D is hey Jason, can you, Sky says, can you add a little something for Charlie K on my way out? Yeah, I think this could be a moment. That's kind of where I was at, I think, generally, but how about a prayer for humanity in general? How about that? It's really important to me to kind of don't lose sight of when you're working on a new piece of music or improvising your way through a new area, is to just don't lose sight of the simple pieces of all of it. The simple pieces, that's what most of us can sort of absorb. It's not like, a lot of us are going to listen to a song on the radio with, harmonic minor or jazz melodic minor shapes in it, you know what I mean? So I think a little bit of that has to be sort of like observed. So part of like what I wanted to do today a little bit was just take these simple arpeggios, embellish them with a sus4 or a sus2. Or 9. So that's, I think, about it for today. You know, I really appreciate you being here with Jason Carey Guitar, and I'm here every weekday morning at 7:30 a.m. and I appreciate you being here, and I also appreciate you just sharing love and joyfulness and focusing on that. Focusing on that is just important, you know? Yes, it is. And I wish you a wonderful day, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. And until we meet again,